How's it everyone, Grant here, welcome back to the channel, and it is finally here, the OnePlus 5. It showed up earlier this week. It was delayed, it was supposed to show up last Friday. It came in earlier this week. I didn't have enough time to do the unboxing, and in the meantime there's been a million unboxings on YouTube, but none on my channel, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it anyway. So let's just get right into it, and if you're watching this you probably already know the specs, but let's just do a quick recap. It's running the latest Qualcomm Snapdragon 835. This is the Midnight Black version, so it's got 8 gigs of RAM and 128 gigabytes of storage. And that is running for $540 with no tax and free shipping, so $540 is $540, that's what you're paying out the door shipped. There is also a version with 6 gigabytes of RAM and 64 gigabytes of storage, and that goes for $480, also no tax and free shipping. But really, if you're coming from the 3T, you may as well get the 8128 because the OnePlus 3T and the OnePlus 3 already had a 6 and 64 gig version. So you really got to go with this version here if you want an upgrade. Other specs, it's got a 5.5 inch 1080p AMOLED display, so not Super AMOLED, just AMOLED. And it's pretty much the same display that was on the 3 and the 3T, so no real upgrade there. But the real star of the show here is these dual cameras that apparently produce clearer photos. And so the OnePlus 5 has a dual camera setup. It's got a main 16 megapixel camera at f/1.7 aperture, so fairly wide aperture there, 24mm lens. It does have electronic image stabilization. There is no optical image stabilization built in here, so we'll test out the software stabilization. The other camera is a 20 megapixel telephoto lens, and it has an aperture of f2.6. and it's a 36mm lens. It's got phase detection autofocus, it's got a dual tone LED flash, and it has a 3300 milliamp hour battery. So let's just go ahead and tear into the packaging here. We'll take off the plastic. And so very much a typical OnePlus box there. You can see the OnePlus logo with the 5 there. Too bad they did not give a black box for the Midnight Black version like they did with the limited run of the Midnight Black 3T. There you see on either end dual camera, clearer photos, nothing really marking the sides, and just some basic information there. So we'll just go ahead and open it up, and it's probably standard OnePlus packaging with the phone on the top for presentation, and there it is right there, sitting right on top. And we'll lift out of here, take a look behind there. We'll get to the phone in a second. We'll just leave it right there. And it's standard packaging. There's probably all your booklets and stuff. We'll see what we get. In the Midnight Black version, I got a case. Let's see if we get a case with the OnePlus 5 here. Nothing there. And there is your OnePlus Quick Start Guide, if you can get that to focus. And we'll open it up like I always do so you can kind of see what that looks like if you're interested. OnePlus logo there. Safety information, so be safe, kids. Let's see what that says. So safety information, read that at your leisure. And you've got your typical OnePlus stickers there. And because they're emphasizing the camera, you get a shot on OnePlus dual camera sticker there. So really emphasizing that camera. So we're gonna see how good it really is. And because they're emphasizing cameras, you've got a photo here. It says shot on OnePlus by the artist in Iceland, so I'm not going to try to pronounce that name and butcher it, but pretty nice photo there. Supposedly shot on, I'm assuming, the OnePlus 5, shot on OnePlus, and your typical letter from your friend, Carl Pei. And we've got our usual dash charging brick here, standard OnePlus dash charger, and if you're interested in the output, there it is. And you have your dash charging cable, USB Type-C. So this is always the thing with OnePlus phones. Dash charging is amazing, and the claims about not having to charge it overnight is very true. I've tried this out. I've only been charging my 3T in the car or in my spare time, and in I think 15 minutes I can get almost 30% of battery. And so a couple times in the car, and I've got that thing at pretty much 70-75%. And so I can really just charge the OnePlus 3T anyway in my spare time. So dash charging is phenomenal, but it requires that you have to use a proprietary charging brick and charging cable. So not just the charging brick, but you have to have these charging cables for that dash charging to work. And that's fine if this is your only phone. Just invest in a bunch of cables and adapters and you'll probably be okay, including the car charger. I highly recommend the car charger because it works extremely fast, and if you have long commutes or any kind of a commute, You can really just charge in the car, and that's pretty much going to last you all day. And I'll just peel off the stickers. I again hate that they put these IMEI stickers on the back of the phone. They really should just put it in the box, but we'll take off the wrist sticker. There you go. And you can see the rear of the OnePlus 5 there in all its glory. And here we go with the front. We'll try to get, actually I think this is a screen protector. They always give you a screen protector. I hate these screen protectors because they're cheap and they pick up a ton of grease. I'll peel this off when I get my screen tempered glass in. I normally don't do tempered glass, but I've got a couple coming, so for those interested, stay tuned. I'll have a couple videos on tempered glass coming up, but we'll just keep this on until that appears. And so let's take a quick look around the phone. So of course, the rear of the phone is the story of the show, because not only does it house that dual camera setup that OnePlus has been advertising very heavily, but it's a bit of, not really controversy, but everyone's saying it looks like a iPhone 7 Plus. And so really quickly, let's go ahead and bring in an iPhone 7 Plus just for fun. There is the 7 Plus right next to it, and you can see. So sure, I get it. It has that, especially if you have this matte black finish, matte black hair, it's gonna have the same finish. The camera housing is gonna look very familiar. The dual flash is exactly the same position. So is the company branding. If you pick it up here, look a little bit closer. There's the housing. Very similar, but slightly different. There's more of a ridge around this one. And if you look closely, just like how I did in my OnePlus 5 release announcement reaction video, or just my thoughts on the OnePlus 5 when it was launched, I didn't deny that it was going to look like the iPhone 7 Plus, but I didn't think it was really going to look like it if you saw it in person, or more or less feel like the OnePlus iPhone 7 Plus, because iPhone 7 here is a very much rectangular design. There is no curved back. It's just a rectangular device, and it's very big and pretty uncomfortable to hold because of that. It doesn't curve into the palm of your hand very nicely, whereas the OnePlus 5 does have those curves at the edges that you can kind of see there on either side, and so it should just curve into the palm of your hand, and it definitely feels a lot better. So if you're holding these two side by side, if you're going to hold it in each hand, I can tell you it feels like totally different phones. And so they may kind of look like it similar if you just took a glance at it, but really in looking at it closely in person and just holding it and feeling it, to me they're not really that much alike, and they feel totally different. But other than the rear of the phone, you saw the bottom, you've got your USB Type-C, your speaker grill, and your headphone jack. You've got your volume button and power button and volume rockers on the right hand side, if that'll focus. And on your left hand side, you've got the patent alert slider there by OnePlus. We'll get that to focus up. There we go. And you've got your volume rockers there. So volume rockers, alert slider, and just your power button on the right hand side. You've got your micro SD card and slim card tray there, and nothing really up top. So we'll go ahead and power this on and set it up. Okay, and we have the fingerprint set up, so we'll go ahead and show you this in real time, adding a fingerprint, just so that you can see how fast it is. Just let me add my pin. And there we go, and we'll add a thumb here. So quite a bit of presses, but still fairly painless there. We'll add more later. And there we go, we're in at the home screen here. So you can see OnePlus, obviously very much a stock Android experience with a few minor features built on top. As you can see, they have the Pixel launcher here standard this time, because let's go here into the settings. So you can already see there's an update waiting for me. It's inevitable to notice the OnePlus 5 news no matter how much I try to avoid it. I notice there are several updates that have occurred since their original launch, so we'll go and install those later. But you can notice here very much stock Android, pulled on shade. We'll go into settings, very much looking like stock as well. You can see the system update waiting for me, but it is running Android 7.1.1 out of the box with Oxygen OS 4.5.0, and that'll change with the updates. You can see there 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of storage, if that'll focus. There we go. And the May 1st, 2017 security patch out of the box there. So you can go into storage and memory, and it's only using 852 megs of the 111 available gigabytes out of the box, so that's very light, very good to see there. And we can take a look at what apps it's got pre-installed here. It should be very lightweight, no more than stock install. So you can see all your Google apps, you've got the OnePlus community there, its gallery app there, a bunch of Google apps, Duo, etc., and that's pretty much it. So very light, virtually zero bloatware, always good to see, which is why the amount of storage being taken up is very minimal. You can go ahead and fire up some apps here just to check out some of the performance, and this should be blazingly fast. Not that I thought the 3T or 3 was slow. I never thought the 3 or 3T needed more memory, but since it already had 6 gigs and it was just flying, but the OnePlus 5 should be just as speedy. And we can open up other apps here like Maps, okay, and the browser here. Don't want to show my account information, and we can go to a web page. Loads up nice and fast, scrolling while it's still loading, still fairly smooth. We go back to other apps, no problem. So I'll test this out further. I'll try to leave a bunch of apps in memory and see how long they'll stay there without reloading, just in my normal testing. But of course, it's going to be speedy as expected there. And the last couple things we can do here is test out the fingerprint scanner and compare it to a couple other phones here. So we'll turn it off. And OnePlus has always had some very fast fingerprint scanners, you can see here. Turn it off and just barely tap it and it turns on. So always a great, fast, and reliable fingerprint scanner. Nothing different here on the OnePlus 5. So we'll bring in the OnePlus 3T just to compare it up. So here is the 3T, also in midnight black. So you can see pretty much the same finish, although it could just be the light. Maybe, yeah, I thought maybe the OnePlus 3T was a little bit lighter, but I think it's just the light how it's reflecting. We'll just put it on the table there so you can see. And actually, it does look like the 3T midnight black is a little bit lighter than the OnePlus 5 here in the same even lighting. So, but outside of the color, you can look at the differences back there. You've got your main single camera here versus the dual camera there. Very much in the center. Looks actually a little bit tidier, I think, on the 3T, but you should have better camera performance here in the OnePlus 5, which we'll test out. Same logo there, and you've got your antenna bands here versus your wraparound antenna bands on the 5. And there we go on the bottom. You can see headphone jack, Type-C, and speaker wheels are in the same place. On this side here, you've got your SIM card tray and power button all in the same place. And same thing with your alert slider and volume rockers there. But as far as overall size, you can kind of put them together here and see pretty much the same height. The 3T is slightly, ever so slightly taller there. As far as width, they seem to be about the same. And you can see over here in thinness, hard to tell with the matte black, but the OnePlus 5 should be thinner. It's supposedly the thinnest one they made, but actually if I look at it, yeah, the OnePlus 5 is on the bottom, so it is a little bit thinner there. But as far as feel in hand, the 3T, while the sides are a little bit tapered at the edges there, you can kind of feel it in hand, and it feels pretty good. But when you put the OnePlus 5 in hand, the sides here are a little bit more tapered. Let me see if I can show you that. Let's see if I can show you that there. But let's go this way. The OnePlus 5 edges are a little bit more tapered on the edges, so when you actually put the OnePlus 5 in hand, it actually feels a little bit better, fits into the palm of the hand a little bit nicer, even though they're both the same 5.5 inch display. So I'm thinking I do like the OnePlus 5 for in-hand feel, but I do think I like the 3T back a little bit, even though it has those antenna lines. The camera's a little bit nicer, but we're hoping for a lot better camera performance here on the OnePlus 5. And lastly, I also still have my gunmetal 3T, so you can compare the gunmetal color. The 6 and 64 gigabyte version of the OnePlus 5 comes in this gunmetal color, so if you were debating about colors because you don't care about the specs necessarily, that's what the gunmetal is going to look like. Pretty much should be the same, and that is what the midnight black looks like. So there you go, just a really quick unboxing of the OnePlus 5 here, and I'll be doing my usual camera samples. Let me know what phones you want to see the OnePlus 5 compared against as far as cameras concerned, or just in general, and I'll definitely do that because like OnePlus is selling, they're really promoting that dual camera, so I'm going to try to test it out as much as I possibly can. But if you have any other questions or comments, leave them in the comment section, and as always, thanks for watching.